Shut up is what we call it.
There, she's recording.
We're recording. Hi. Happy Valentine's, everyone. Whether you're in a romantic relationship or you're single or you're in a transitional period with a relationship, we want to wish you the most beautiful Valentine's Day in the world because you deserve it. There are a lot of us talking about self-love. So today's conversation is about self-love. And I'm Tamika Shilby.
I'm Carolyn Burke.
And I'm Brenda Dowell.
And the three of us want to go a little deeper with this conversation about self-love today. And actually, we were talking about how even in the past, sometimes we've done blogs or videos or had conversations with people about self-love that are more the surface or momentary things or day-to-day things that we do to love ourselves, like have a bubble bath or go for a walk in nature or practice a meditation. And these things are essential. They're so important in the moment. But when we got really right down to it, we were talking about how it is impossible to love yourself if you're doing some other things or some other things are happening in your life which you aren't addressing. So it's kind of like you could bubble bath all day long and you still wouldn't love yourself more if these other situations were happening, these deeper ways that we can actually love ourselves. So that's why we call this the no BS approach to self-love. You might be sick of hearing people say, love yourself, because you think, how do I love myself? Like, I'm doing the best I can. I'm living my life. I got these things going on. We've all got things going on. And we think that these three things that we're going to talk about today are the key to loving yourself. The really, really deep things. So we're going deep. And I'm going to start, and that is number one is saying no and setting boundaries for ourselves. That's the first way to think about self-love for yourself. This is so much easier to say than it is to practice. But when we practice saying no to other people, we can open up to what we really love in life and what we really want to experience and the joys that we really want to experience. And setting boundaries, I have a whole video on that, so I'll put a link to that video because it is a big topic and we're not going to go into that today. But setting boundaries, really the one that is so important is when other people say to you, this is who I need you to be. And it may be that you're going to meetings that you actually don't enjoy. And I don't mean the mandatory ones that are part of your livelihood at work. I don't mean that, but maybe extracurricular things that you actually don't want to be a part of, but you're doing it out of obligation, or you think that you're not good enough unless you do it. So it could be something like that. It could be other people that you're surrounding yourself with that want you to be a certain way, so that you kind of change who you are. So you're not living authentically. You're not being your true self when you're around those people. So that's setting a boundary for yourself and saying no more. Okay, that's a nice person. I like them. It doesn't mean that they're bad, but they're not nurturing my spirit. They're not making me feel good about myself. And it's not always about us feeling good about ourselves. Like, the three of us in relationship definitely have times where we don't feel good because we're just having a bad day, but we always know that that person is there to catch us and that person doesn't want to change who we are. Now, sometimes we may want to change behaviors, like we may be like, hey, do you mind not saying that anymore? Because that's getting to me. Or, there may be certain behaviors that we call each other out on, but it's that core of who we are. We don't say, you know what, I don't like who you are and I want you to change this about who you are. So I have had a couple of situations in my life where I've had to say, I think it's best if we just don't continue this relationship because this is non-negotiable for me. And those were people I love. So I want to acknowledge that this can be very painful. It can be very, you can love someone and let them go. You can love someone so much And you can try to work things out. And I would always recommend, obviously, doing everything you can to work something out, especially with people you love. But if there's no common ground, or if they want you to change who you are, then you have to move on. And so for me, part of this is knowing what my non-negotiables are. So asking myself, what do I stand for? You know, a couple of things that my friends, my closest friends know about me is that speaking our truth and not pretending that difficult things aren't happening. I can't do that anymore. I used to be able to do that much more easily. You know, if you're pissed off at me, let's talk about it. Let's clear it and make it clean so that we can move on. If we can't talk about it, that's real awkward for me. Now, I just want to say, I don't need to do that with all my neighbors. I don't need to do that at the grocery store with somebody. You know, I'm talking about close relationships, obviously. And another one for me is violence. So physical, emotional, violence against women, violence against men, doesn't matter if it's just women, verbal violence. So I'm not going to stand by and witness that kind of stuff going on and not speak about it. And I can work with speaking about it in the most compassionate way, but I'm not willing to be a bystander to certain things. So these are issues that have come up for me in relationship where I've had to say, no, I can't do that. And it's hard, guys. I don't know if you guys have had that, but having to set a boundary. And then there's also the FOMO issue, you know, fear of missing out. So we are afraid of missing out on things. And I certainly have been there too. It's like, if I say no to this, what will I miss out on? But it opens up the doorway to have authentic relationships. And that to me is self-love. I don't know if you guys would add anything to that.
Hear, hear.
Yes.
Yes.
Wow.
Very, very resonant.
Mm-hmm.
Any clarifications? Anything need clarifying?
Not for me. It's pretty clear.
And being authentic to who I am, I think that encourages me, what you're saying, to be like, oh, actually, I may need to say no to this person or this situation because it's not resonating with my values and who I am. And so I like that clarity because it helps me to kind of narrow it down. Okay. Yeah. There's going to be a decision that needs to be made here.
Yeah. Brenda, have you had to do this in your life?
Oh, absolutely. And it's not, for me, it's not about them being good or bad. They're good people. It's just, I need to do what's right for me to really honor myself and feel in integrity with myself. So, yeah.
Thank you.
Okay. Well, the second thing that helps to increase self-love for me is really being discerning about who I hang out with or who's in my circle or who I surround myself with. And, you know, people often say you need to surround yourself with people that are positive and are of the same vibration. And it's not just positive. To me, it's also people who will help me to love myself more. That is positive. But the way that they can do that is if I'm being self-critical, which is really one of the things that takes me out of self-love, is not accepting myself as I am or putting myself down or saying that I'm not good enough today. Having friends who will say to me, no, you're distorted on that. You know, you're doing really well here. Look at this is negative self-talk that you're in. Let's help you get out of that cycle. And those same friends also saying, like, calling me on my stuff when I'm maybe saying stuff that isn't true, not just about myself, but about my life. Like, wait a second, are you really walking the talk there, Carolyn? So surrounding myself with people who see me and love me for who I am, my circle of support. And what that's meant for me over the years is it's meant changing that circle of support. So I no longer hang out with certain people, and it's not that they're bad, like Brenda was saying. It's more about the fit, and it's very hard. I feel guilty still sometimes when I think about that, because changing in that way and surrounding myself with people who hold me up and are of the same vibration is so important, but it's hard to do. And I find also, if any of you are in a situation where you be kind with yourself, if you notice this is going on and you think, I don't know if I should be in this situation or with this person or with these people at this time, I think it's really important to be kind with yourself and just know that the awareness is the first step. Just being aware that somebody or a situation or a group of people aren't who you want to be around because they don't allow you to love yourself. It's okay, because it can take time. It can take time to work through those feelings and get to a place of shifting the circle of support.
I love that.
Yeah, is there anything you guys have to add to that?
It reminds me, yeah, it totally makes sense. And it reminds me, my friend Laura used to say about love, about true love, that when you're in love, and I guess this could apply to a friendship too, but being around that person makes you love yourself more. And I thought, what a great definition for what love is, you know?
Yeah.
Yes.
And it also, when you're speaking, it reminds me of a Carolyn Mace quote, which is, we evolve at the rate of those we are plugged into.
Yeah.
So we want to grow and we want to have this fantastic life, and we want all these things, and we want to be happy. And if we are plugging in, and sometimes we're literally plugging our bodies in, sometimes I've been there, plugging your bodies in to someone that isn't growing, isn't interested in growing. I think that's really hard. Have you guys been there?
Yeah, absolutely. And letting go of, recognizing and letting go. I feel the same. I've changed some relationships and I feel guilt still at some points of, oh my God, I'm not better than them. And I didn't think I was. Yeah. And I still feel the guilt. Yeah.
Yeah. Does it change, Brenda, over time?
Yes.
The guilt?
Yes. Yeah. I don't know if it's the acceptance of it and the willingness just to stay in integrity, stay in my truth, and letting it go and knowing that I made the right choice. Yeah. And it's still hard.
Yeah. Yeah. When I think of it for me, I think, yes, sometimes there's definitely guilt, especially if it's family. There's guilt. There's a lot of levels of things with family sometimes. But in past relationships that aren't like that, sometimes it's sadness for me too, with family or friends or lovers. And it's sadness either that, oh, there was so much that I loved about this person. There's so much goodness. And I miss that. I miss the light of our connection. And, you know, usually it's when one gets out of balance, like the dark grows too big or much bigger than the light or whatever. You can't resolve things. But it's also sometimes, like, I think in terms of past lovers too, it's, I'm sad about the fantasy that I had created.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Absolutely.
You get it? Okay. We got some head.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Yep. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. Absolutely. So the third thing that I'm going to talk about is facing our deepest fears. And in order to live an incredibly amazing life and to love ourselves wholly, we need to face those deep fears. For me, it's been an ongoing process and continues to be as I learn more and more about myself and what I'm passionate about. And I realize that to follow my dreams and to follow my bliss, I've got to be willing to go into the darkness and to face those fears and to realize what they are, and so in order to create a more holistic life experience. And so I love to travel. And what I have realized, especially over the last couple of years, especially with the help of you two, is that I have a lot of fear and anxiety around traveling. And so I get really anxious before I'm going to travel, especially traveling alone, which I am. And so I face those fears and I just got back from Hawaii, and I've had so many people say to me, oh my God, you're so lucky. You just got back from Hawaii. And it's like, yeah, this is part of the life that I am creating, and I'm creating it because I'm willing, and it still scares me, and I'm willing to face the fear and be anxious and know that I'm going to go through this process in order to get where I want to go, because I love to travel. It fuels me, it fills me up, and I want to love myself more. And in order to do those things, I got to look at that and continue to step into the fear and step forward and be willing to face those parts of me that that scare me, those parts of my life that scare me. And because they're also the gateway, the doorway for me to live a more impassioned life, and to feel what I feel fully, and love and embrace myself for all of it, for the light, for the dark, for the beauty, for what isn't, for what I know about myself. And so yeah, travel is one of my things, and I'm passionate about it. I love it. It makes me feel so amazing. I love myself when I'm there. And when I was in Hawaii, it became clear many times, because a lot of people don't travel to Hawaii alone. There's a lot of couples and a lot of groups, families. And so several times I was sitting there going, yeah, I'm alone. Isn't that interesting? And by the end of the 10 days that I was there, it was like, yeah, I'm a little lonely. I miss my friends. I miss my family. And so again, the fear of being alone, and being willing to step into the travel and travel alone, and not let that fear of being alone or traveling alone stop me from doing what I want to do, and getting where I want to go, because I want to travel the world, and I don't care if I have to do it alone. It was amazing and scary. So yeah.
I love it.
Yeah.
Oh,
Basically,
so exciting.
You're basically like naming the light and the dark together, that they're married, right?
They are. Yeah.
And
Both
so
of them, all of
people
it.
look at your lifestyle, B, and they're just like, whoa, she's in Hawaii now, and she's like, doing scorpion pose by the ocean. Like the best Instagram feed out there, like it's a pretty
amazing,
pretty package, and it is amazing.
And it's scary.
And I love what you're saying, is that nothing like that comes without fear.
Yeah, without both sides. It's got to be both. So it's not all love and light, and it is love and light, and it's the darkness and the density. And for me at this point in my life, being willing to look at that and go, well, it's part of who I am. It's part of my life. And in order to love myself, I've got to love all of it.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
And it's so funny, because I think, how could you not love yourself more when you do something that scares you? Like anytime I face my fears and do something, it's like, oh my God, look what I've done. Like, look what I've actually faced my darkest fears. And then I start to feel happier, healthier, whole, all of what you said, Brenda. Like, how could that not happen?
Yeah.
I think you have a really good example of that, Jyoti, with the Mystic Moms program, which I've been able to kind of co-produce with you. And it's been freaking amazing watching you bring out this information that no one else is doing this like this. It doesn't exist. It doesn't exist. And it is, and I know it's a stretch, but it's an amazing stretch, right?
Oh,
it's the only you can express.
It's a stretch, because it's talking about, combining my parenting and my yoga worlds, and bringing the subtle to the parenting to help us all kind of be more in the now. And talking about parenting is pretty vulnerable. And I screw up all the time. I yell at my kids. Like, it's not perfect. I don't know anybody who parents and feels like they're an all-star parent, right? Because it's such a challenge. So for me, it's been huge in terms of facing my fears and putting myself out there in a different way. And I know it'll create more self-love, but I'm still kind of in that place of like, oh my gosh, why am I doing this? So Brenda, that inspires me to keep going. Basically, that inspires me to think, okay, I do want to love myself more. So can I face this and keep moving through it? And there's going to be ups and downs, and there's going to be days where I'm feeling really strong and ready. And there's going to be days where I just want to hide.
Yeah. We all have dreams. And I love that. I think everything that we're talking about here connects back to dreams, because we have to love ourselves a lot in order to, if we want to fulfill our dreams, we have to take risks. We have to face the dark. We have to set boundaries and say no. We have to be discerning about who and what we're spending our time around. All of these things are the only real way to make room for your dreams, because no dream comes to us. Oprah's not calling you tomorrow morning. One of my dreams isn't Oprah, but I love her, but that's not one of my dreams. But if it's yours, she's not just going to pick up the phone and call you. She's got other things to do. So it's like, we've got to be able to excavate and work on this stuff inside of ourselves. Another example for me right now is writing my book. I mean, it's been almost 5 years of this body of work, and I'm scared because it is my most, in order to talk to people about speaking your truth, I've got to do it too. So I have to reveal a lot of my darkness, and it's freaking scary to know that I could walk into a room and they're going to know everything about me, like it's really scary. And it's also really, I know what it's what I have to do. And so it keeps rolling on, but I just want to resonate with that. Now, Brenda, going back to you for a second. So there's people that may want to travel, like that may be a dream that they have and they want to fulfill it. If there's other barriers that they might have, their darkest fears may be related to money. And they may look at you and go, well, it's easy for you to say, like, to travel. You're so lucky.
Yeah. Well, yeah. Luck. Okay. Yes. Luck. No, it's not, I'm not flush with cash. I'm not rich. I know what I want to do, and I plan for it, and I create the space and time for it, and I look at my schedule. So there's a lot of work that goes behind creating this life that I love. And, I guess you could say, yeah, there is some luck, and there's a lot of work behind it, because it's not just, oh yeah, I've got the money and I can go wherever I want to go whenever I want to. Oh yeah, that's just great. It's, I plan for it, and I do. I save for it, and I'm careful about certain things. And then, I'm able to live my dream and to do the traveling and to follow my heart and my bliss and do those things. It just doesn't happen at the snap of a finger. There's a lot of back stuff that happens and a lot of facing fears of, oh my God, am I going to have enough money? Am I going to be able to pay my bills when I get back, and all those things? Yep. So it all lines up for me, just like it does for a lot of other people. Yeah. And it's just, for me, it's just, this is a priority in my life because of what I know I need to do in order to fill myself up.
Yeah. Yeah. I love that. That is self-love. You guys.
Yes.
Yeah. That's our biggest wish for you, is that you love yourself this Valentine's Day, whether you're single or partnered. It doesn't matter, that you cultivate that self-love, give time for it, and also share it with other people that need it and that need their cup filled up.
Yes.
So we would love to also help you fill up your cup. The three of us are actually going to be together at the Subtle Energy Body program. When does it start, Jyoti?
March 28th.
Yeah, March 28th. And it's like 5 days of energetics. Actually, how do we work with the energy in our everyday lives? It's super powerful. We have people that come back every year and audit. So if you are a graduate, you can come back and audit for a very small fee for 5 days of training, very minimal. Or come and join us. If you haven't been with us before, come and join us. It's a really amazing journey. You will not see the world the same afterward, but you'll have tons of tools to feel safe and to feel open and to feel like you can see things that other people can't see and don't know about. And it's all based on research. We use multiple sources. With this energetic stuff, we can't always prove things. So we want to see it repeating over and over again over time, and with different sources that are credible. So it's research-based. It's based on our own experiences, of course, lots of stories and lots of excitement. It's pretty exciting. It's one of my favorite things to do in my life, is to be part of that with you guys. Mm-hmm. Anything else? But,
You know, I think also you take some tools away with you, as you said, Tamika, that you can use if you want to bring it into your own life and into your classes. If you're a yoga teacher, sound healing techniques and meditation and mudras and ways to go into those deeper layers of yourself. I'm going like this, but also deeper layers of yourself, going up above your head, like, and connecting to a greater power.
Yeah.
Yeah. And we just give so many different ways to use energy or to read energy or to feel energy, so that if one doesn't resonate for you, there's several for you to look at or to work with, and it'll change your perspective on a lot of things. And open heart, open mind, that's all you need.
Mm-hmm.
And you can check that out on davidtree.com. Is there anything else that you guys have coming up that you want people to know about?
Brenda, you have your anatomy.
Integrative anatomy starting in March. It's 4 weekends, once a month. Come and play and learn anatomy in a fun, loving, and experiential way. I'd love to have you.
If anatomy has ever intimidated you, fear not, because Brenda will make it fun and playful and very accessible. Yeah.
And integrate the energetic body as well into the teaching. So it's not just about muscles and bones.
No. Yeah. Absolutely.
All right, guys. Well, love yourself up today and every day. And don't forget about the bubble baths and the walks in nature. Yeah. But also, we hope you go deep.
Yes.
It's worth it. Self-love.
Namaste, everyone.
Namaste.
Namaste.